Yo, what's up guys? We got Pokegame here, and today I have some Pokemon Sword and Shield news for those that follow the Smogon metagame. Magearna has been banned after the suspect test, but then they also decided to quick ban Cinderace right after the results of the Magearna ban. Now I'll talk a little about both and how I feel about it, and yeah, let's just get into it. So honestly, if they were just going to quick ban one of the Pokemon anyway, like, this is just my personal opinion, right? It should have been Magearna and not Cinderace. I think Cinderace 100% deserves a test, at least now. And now they did say that they are going to retest Cinderace, kind of like how they did Melmetal, into the metagame again. And that's all fine and whatnot, but I kind of feel like the Magearna suspect test was just a waste of time. As you can see right here, it had an 82% ban, like the majority, like the pro majority. It was insane. It was insane. But I think nobody could argue that Magearna wasn't too much for the current metagame. Specs had basically no switch-ins, and its quote-unquote actual good switch-ins would just get crippled by Trick. And then obviously the Combine and boosting sets, and with the stored power and draining kiss were just a lot when it came to Magearna itself. So I think that Magearna was going to go no matter what, whether it had someone voting on it or an actual suspect test for it. But it's really weird to me to see Cinderace be banned right after. And I know a lot of this has to do with the fact that OLT just started and they didn't want it on the ladder. Me personally, in terms of Cinderace, I'm still like on the fence of whether it's broken or not. And this is from a guy who has definitely lost to Cinderace a bunch of times, but I do think it was the combination of Cinderace plus Magearna that kind of pushed Cinderace over the edge, because the Volt Turn, the crippling answers, the fact that you Flare Cannon everything and keep them low as hell. But let's see what they actually said about Cinderace itself, and then we'll talk about the metagame will be after, because TPP actually put out a pretty cool little thing right here. But TDK writes, hello all, the OU Council has unanimously voted to quick ban Cinderace, then give it a full suspect test in the near future. Like I said, I think this has to do a lot with the fact that OLT had just started. And I don't really like that they're kind of like, I mean, I've said this plenty of times, but I don't like that they're catering to the tournament community specifically, even though the tournament community is the minority when it comes to even competitive Pokemon on Smogon, period. Because only about 200 or so people enter tournaments, and that's it. And there's thousands, well, quote-unquote thousand on Smogon. Galar's most popular starter has skyrocketed in usage and potency ever since its hidden ability. Libero got released mid-June. Libero, despite its defensive name, pushes Cinderace's offensive potential to the far ends of what one could consider balance. Much like Protein Greninja towards the end of XY into early ORAS, Cinderace has incredible speed coupled with stab on every move it uses. Cinderace also has multiple moves with extraordinarily high power. It has two 120 base power moves, Power Ball and Gunk Shot, and one 130 base power move, High Jump Kick, at its disposal, on top of multiple other options. Zen Headbutt is crucial for Oxabeck. Sucker Punch can come in clutch, picking off weakened Pokemon or a Dragapult. Core Change has incredible utility. Bulk Up has the potential to sweep teams, and of course U-Turn is a highly spammable move with low punishment options. Cinderace's toolkit is truly unmatched in this metagame. I'm just going to keep going as well, and like I said, when I feel like pausing, I will. The most commonly used moves, Powerball and Gunk Shot, have huge ups and downs. A burn for Powerball is game-changing, turning reliable counterplay such as a Paddle into a passive answer that gets easily whittled down. Gunk Shot has a high chance of inflicting poison for a move already so powerful, and inflicting poison on a Pokemon like Mandibuzz or other bulky Pokemon can be truly devastating. With that said, both of these moves also have their downsides. Both moves have APP, so getting PP Star is a realistic factor, and moves are not 100% accurate, as Powerball is 90% accurate while Gunk Shot is only 80%. These moves have a ton of upside, but also could be tragic should the RNG not go your way. And I think we all know that Cinderace either misses or burns. That's like basically what Cinderace does when it comes to Gunk Shot. Powerball. The expectation of getting those secondary effects, especially with Powerball, is not a reason to have this Pokemon get banned. However, Cinderace isn't always in a hit and win or miss and lose situation. It forces switches from many defensive Pokemon such as the Mungus, Clefable, Corviknight, Ferrothorn, Rillaboom, Tangrowth. Again, the logic of Cinderace being RNG reliant isn't being applied here. We aren't assuming Cinderace will frequently get these effects, nor assuming we frequently miss. A lot of these forces switches are actually a little bit inaccurate, I would say. Mungus and Tangrowth lives hits and threaten it with Spore or Sleep Powder. I'm just like, this is my thought. That's not saying, hey, no, this is wrong. But I'm just saying it doesn't always force switches on these Pokemon. In fact, every single one of these Pokemon here could stay in on Cinderace. Rillaboom doing 50% with Banded, Grassy Glide. Corviknight lives Pyro Ball. Clefable lives Gunk Shot if it's defensive and can Thunder Wave and knock off the heavy duty boots. I think the combination of heavy duty boots definitely is what makes it as good at what it is. Amoonguss and Tangrowth both live Pyro Ball, can Spore and Sleep Powder. You can get Rocky Helmet Chip. Again, the logic of Cinderace being RNG reliant isn't being applied here. We aren't assuming Cinderace will frequently get these effects, nor assuming it will frequently miss. The most reliant form of countermeasure to Cinderace is Rocky Helmet Tox effects with Baneful Bunker. Although Tox effects is 2 KO by said Headbutt coming in, despite its great defensive stats, it can then threaten with Baneful Bunker to whittle down Cinderace and render it unable to making progress. I mean, this is true, and if you're running Pex, you have probably regen with it, or Mandibuzz, or Hippowdon, you're wearing it down with your Rocky Helmet, with your Poison and all that stuff too. Able to become immune to either a Scald Burn or Toxic in case the Toxic opts to go for something other than Baneful Bunker. Alternatively, the Cinderace user can simply just switch out and see if Baneful Bunker is revealed. After it's revealed, it becomes Mind Games where the Toxic will be in serious trouble if they're wrong. I think that's a little bit of a stretch. Becomes Mind Games where the Toxic user will be in serious trouble if they're wrong. I mean, not really. If they Zen Headbutt up problem switching in your Rocky Helmet, they take Rocky Helmet Chip, and if they go for a Pyro Ball as you Baneful Bunker, it's still the same thing, right? You can just switch to your another mon like Hippowdon or Mandibuzz or your other Regenerator mons. I think it's not necessarily serious trouble. If anything, I think the fact that Zen Headbutt can flinch is a big thing for Pex itself, but that's not mentioned there. Compared to previous generations, the present OU metagame is a lot slower. Cinderace's speed tier, which initially might appear not that exceptional, is truly incredible. Dragapult and Zero run the tier when it comes to speed, but there's a massive drop-off after them. In fact, Cinderace is the 4th fastest OU Pokemon, only behind Alakazam and the aforementioned Pokemon. This puts in perspective how hard it is to punish Cinderace. It deals significant damage to the vast majority of the metagame, outspeeds almost all of it, avoids passive chipped due to heavy duty boots, and can even utilize Libero as its name is intended, giving Cinderace the ability to change its typing to withstand a potentially fatal attack. I feel like a lot of that also has to do with just how good heavy duty boots is as an item. There are flaws, however, for Cinderace. I've touched on multiple already, but a big one is that Cinderace, as strong as it seems to be, fails to secure important OHKOs. In fact, the majority of the metagame is more than capable of surviving a hit from Cinderace. Max Defense Clefable never dies to Gunk Shot from a Jolly Cinderace and can cripple it by removing its boots or paralyzing it with Thunder Wave. Or it can even use more niche options such as Counter, which I've seen too, which is pretty funny. I've seen like Focus Sash Counter and Clefable. That one's annoying. Any Corviknight with minimal defense investment on top of a boost in nature can take a Power Ball and either chip Cinderace with an attack or roost it off, draining 2 PP thanks to pressure. Toxic with no prior damage is a good shot, but just laughing off Cinderace's throws at it, evens at Headbutt. Adamant Cinderace can only 55.9% max to max defense. Toxic with a Headbutt, which can be shrugged off by Black Star's recovery, bar 2 exceptional rolls or a critical hit. Despite the fact that it gets stabbed in all its attacks, Cinderace is also simply capable of breaking past the most defensive Pokemon on the tier without luck or a lot of outplaying. And of course, he mentions a Hippowdon and Mandibuzz. It can shrug off anything thrown at it as long as it doesn't get inflicted by one Pyro Ball or Gunk Shot secondary effects. The only fear is coming in on U-turns to the point of being in range of 2 of the aforementioned attacks, but these Pokemon take very little, and Hippowdon is capable of punishing U-turn with Rocky Helmet as well as Chip through Sandstorm. It should be mentioned that Cinderace has plenty of offensive checks as well. Dragapult is a premier offensive check, resisting both of Cinderace's powerful moves as well as U-turn, only fearing a potential Sucker Punch. Zero Aura deals significant damage and can even Vultures out of Cinderace, out if Cinderace is in kill range. Most potential Scarf Pokemon are more than capable of knocking Cinderace out due to its reliable lack of bulk. Weather abusers such as Excadrill, Kingdra, and Venusaur are all very big threats and reliably scare out Cinderace. Cinderace also, after changing its type with Libero, can also find itself in fear of being hit by potential priorities such as Rillaboom, Grassy Glide, or Shifu Sucker Punch. And in the case of Rillaboom has a chance to 2-hit KO with Adamant, Grassy Glide, Choice Band anyway, so if Cinderace switches in, it has a chance of being 2-hit KO. Cinderace's moves, despite how good they are, have a lot of downside, and he's going to go on to mention obviously the PP and the fact that they can miss. Just because Cinderace isn't quite strong enough to avoid being gated by the APP of its 2 strong moves. Considering Cinderace has to click the right move to get a KO, and there are a lot of things that resist fire or poison attacks, it isn't impractical to combat Cinderace by draining its PP and then handling it accordingly. Even with its flaws, Cinderace is still extremely unique Pokemon, sure. Its relative lack of downside, with the exception of getting unlucky by missing its moves, make it incredibly menacing. Its incredible move pool, speed, and ability all combined make it too much for the metagame to handle at the moment. There's a lack of countermeasures, and its presence is something that needs to be dealt with. Now, again, let's read the last one. We'll be testing Cinderace back down in the very near future. We intend to get this done prior to the release of the next Pokemon Sword and Shield expansion pass, the Crown Tundra, coming sometime in the fall. However, if the release is too soon, we will most likely look into freeing Cinderace immediately once we get all the new Pokemon, and most likely new moves as well. Now, again, personally, I feel like a lot of what made Cinderace so crazy is the fact that it was in a metagame with Magearna, and it kind of just takes me back to Latias / Salamence. in Gen 4, whereas at the time when they were both together, they were busted. But Latias now has made an appearance back in Gen 4, and it's extremely, like, it got retested, and it's extremely, it's fine. It's fine for the meta. The meta didn't even shift much, like, in terms of Latias. The meta shifted itself because it's PvP. But I feel like Cinderace also has a lot of that because a lot of soft checks and answers to it are easily worn down by what Magearna used to do. And just to name a few Pokemon off the top of my head, Pex, Bro, Alola Marowak, just a little passive one, and obviously the really defensive ones that were mentioned, Hippowdon, Mandibuzz, all were worn down by the combination of Ace plus Pex Magearna. That was a very common combination. And then, like, even more offensive answers, obviously you wouldn't want to switch in. If they get U-turn on and Mag gets in, the more offensive answers to Cinderace, Dragapult, and Zeraora don't KO Mag. You throw off another Specs Flash Cannon, or you trick. I don't know, I'm saying trick like I'm messing up the word. That's the word I mean to say. And you cripple those options. So, like I personally said before, I do think that Magearna, if they were going to quick ban anything, which I don't like quick bans. I don't. I think everything should always be suspect tested. And I mean, the idea that something's going to come back, I like that. That's how Yu does it too. I'm okay with it being suspect tested later. But I do think that the role should have been flipped. Magearna, quick ban. I don't think anybody was arguing that Magearna was healthy for the metagame. And then Cinderace suspect tested just to see how the vocal majority goes. But I do think there also should have been a little bit of time in between too for the metagame to develop, because I think a lot of Pokemon get way better with Magearna being gone. And that opens up more options itself. And they actually go into the... So let me know your thoughts on that, by the way, down below. But they actually go into Mons that deal with it, and Mons that potentially get better. Oh, you metagame discussion thread. Finally, last group is Mons. I give Magearna and Cinderace an opportunity to switch in or be pivoted into for Cinderace. Mons I can switch into it and force out. Mons I can switch into Cinderace. Mons I can revenge kill Cinderace. Definitely. I mean, if it's weakened, you definitely... If you're going to put Weave out here, you got to put a Zoomeril too, but whatever. Mons I can switch into Magearna. I guess it's just based on OU. No, it's not, because Crocodile here. Mons I can revenge kill Magearna. Mons and Magearna I can switch into and force out. Yep. And I mean, all these Mons, I mean, a good majority of these Mons can eat a hit from Cinderace, or at least deal with it in some sort of way, or outspeed it when it comes to 2 or 3. So, I mean, I don't know. I do think the metagame is going to shift, period. For those that are like, oh, why don't they all ever suspect the defensive Pokemon? I think that's a fair bet. I think that if they had any premise to do that, it should have been Clefable prior to the DLC coming out. What is it that I also wanted to say? There was something else. For those that are going to say, oh, why are they banned Cinderace and they didn't test its ability, Libero, because it's the only one that gets it? I mean, yeah, technically that's true, but in order to do that, they have to prove that it's the ability that's broken and not necessarily the mon itself or something. I'm just repeating what I was told. They have to prove that the ability is broken and not the mon itself. And unfortunately, stupid Reboot, not stupid, I actually love Reboot. One of my favorite out of the line is tiered, if I'm not mistaken, in what is it, PU or NU or whatever like that. So, like, I don't know. That's like the logic behind that. I don't even know if that's accurate. I think it's definitely something that should happen, and if that's the logic, oh, you gotta prove it's broken, or if it's, oh, it affects other Pokemon, you can't use it. Why the hell was Galarian Darmanitan banned and not just Gorilla Tactics? Only Mon with it. Gorilla Tactics is definitely a busted ability on the Pokemon itself, and I think on any other Pokemon that could have also been crazy too. Should give it to Cinderace, but I don't know. I think there's a lot of I know Smogon wants to create the most balanced metagame, not necessarily the most fun metagame, and I do think that, like I said, Cinderace should have been tested, if anything. If you were going to do that just for... And this was specifically done for OLT, like I said. No, this is 100% had OLT in mind. You're not going to ban the mon and start OLT the second the suspect ends, but also ban another mon that is problematic in the metagame. But again, I truly feel like the answers to Cinderace got a whole lot better because Magearna is gone. And I think Cinderace would have been manageable. And again, they mentioned all the missing and stuff like that too. And that's a really big thing when it comes to Cinderace too. They mentioned it not being able to get KOs. Like this, it's not as comparable to X and Y Greninja. Protein Greninja got banned towards the end of XY. Or was it Oras? Or whatever, it was one of those two. But I think it was XY. and it got banned a lot because, but in Greninja's case, like it had moves that had 100% like going for it, right? You had Ice Beam, you had Hidden Power Fire, obviously you had Hydro Pump and stuff like that too, but Ice Beam, Hidden Power Fire, a big one, right? And those can actually pick up KOs because they come stab, because they were boosted by Life Orb or Belt, and they could break through more defensive counterplay. Extra Sensory, not Extra Sensory too much, but anyway, those are my like overall thoughts. Extra Sensory wasn't that one. What am I remembering? Am I remembering 7th? Yeah, that's 7th gen, not 6th. But yeah, I mean, Gren had the high speed tier. It had too much power, and there wasn't no tox effects around. And obviously, he had a few other toys that could work too. But I don't know. I'm just iffy about this. I don't like it personally. I like that they are going to test it in, but I don't think that Cinderace deserved the quick ban myself. And again, I really want people to think like this mon. I don't even think it's inherently like broken. It has fantastic ability, has fantastic moves, but I just think that with the current metagame that we had, where it was allowed, that is what made it seem that way. But even then, like, I don't know. Either way, let me know your thoughts. Kind of hard for me to put together this stuff because it's just a weird. It's just like it's just a weird one. It really is. It's a good mon. It's a damn good mon. You know, it's top 10 for a reason. Probably top 5 or whatever up there. But in terms of what mons get better, Volcarona is going to get a whole lot better. It just lost one of its best offensive checks that can live any hit, offensive one, live any hit and then knock it back out with Pyro Ball. So Volcarona definitely gets better. Ooh, I'm excited to see if Sun gets better too. I know variations of Stall for sure get better, or at least hard, maybe not Stall, but like hard balance, like with like Hippowdon, Tangrowth. Skarm is going to be cool. I'll probably see a little rise in that. I've been seeing a lot of Skarm as well on the ladder, so that'll be interesting. But yeah, let me know your thoughts, guys, and I'll see you next time. Peace.